Hello there, today we're doing a wonderful meal. It's a real balance of flavours, textures, freshness, and it's just really delicious actually. So I've got these beautiful rump steaks from Rannachy. Look at them, absolutely stunning. Beautiful. So we've got those. I know some people don't like to do a rump, but they're really good. Anyway, before we start cooking, it's going to be with mushroom rice and a tomato salad, some sautéed asparagus and the nice steak. So we're going to start by doing a couple of things. Firstly, we're going to make a dressing to blob on the top. Blob being the technical word. So just some sour cream. That's probably more than we need, but I'm a bit picky. And then a good teaspoon of horseradish sauce. Now just a normal horseradish, not the super hot one or anything like that. In there we put a little bit of freshly ground salt, a little bit of pepper. Just give that a mix in. It's simple as that really. That's just really going to bring out the flavour of the steak and sort of ooze over the rice in it. Okay. Freshish garnish. We've got some really nice cherry tomatoes. Yeah, buy good ones, don't get rubbish. But anyway, these are really nice. Give them a sniff, make sure they smell. Got Aberdeenshire rapeseed oil infused with garlic, 1 teaspoon of that. Got some balsamic vinegar. You could use other vinegars, but this one works really well. Teaspoon of that. Salt. Now the salt's going to bring out the moisture and make like a little dressing. Good hit of pepper. Little wee stir. Throw some on the table. There we go, simple as that. Other things we've got ready. We've got an onion chopped, half a punnet of chestnut mushrooms, couple of cloves of garlic smashed up. I've trimmed up some asparagus ready to go. That's just going to cook in the meat juices that are left in the pan. Bosh, bosh, bosh. We've got our rice, we've got our stock. Okay, we're ready to cook. Okay, to cook, we'll start with the rice. We've got a pan that has a tight fitting lid. That's very important. In the pan, some butter. It's a couple of ounces there. 50 grams if you must. And we just wait for that to melt down and get hot. There we go. Now, in with the onions. Then we're going to fry these onions until they're nicely done. In with that clove of garlic. And we'll let them cook out for a good couple of minutes or so. Okay, they're nicely cooked out now. I'm going to throw in some fresh thyme from the garden. You can use a bit of dried if you want, and a bay leaf. And now I've got the mushrooms. I'm going to throw those in. Now when you fry mushrooms you're going to get water. That's just the nature of the beast. So we're going to cook them until all the water's gone and we're left with the butter again. Okay, you can see that that's cooked out now. So I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. Now the rice, I'm going to use a 1/4 of a cup measure because you don't want to cook too much. Now you use whatever measure you want, but it's important that you stick to a measure right the way through. So I'm going to put in 2 measures of, I'm using Easy Cook basmati rice. Now that's basmati rice that's had the starch washed out of it. You can use Easy Cook long grain rice or anything you want really. But this gives you a nice light texture. So I've put 2 of them in, so now I'll put 3 water. So basically you're having 1.5 water to 1 rice. So 1, 2, 3. This is what in the trade they call the absorption method, which is easier to read than say. Okay, into that as well, we're just going to put a little bit of chicken bouillon. You can use a stock cube. This is just the powdered version. Give that a stir. Make sure it's all well and truly mixed. We're going to add a little bit of pepper and salt. There we go. Again, give that a stir through. Make sure that your herbs are down in the liquid. And then pop your tight fitting lid on. Now, we cook that on the lowest setting for about 17 minutes. Now, don't keep opening the lid because it's the absorption method and you want the liquid to go into the rice, not into the air. So that's the rice. Now we'll move on to the steak. Okay, the steak. So we've got a small, I'm using a small pan because I'm on induction. If I use the pan big enough for both steaks, it would only cook in the middle. So I'm going to do them one at a time. And you need to let them rest anyway. So in the pan, just a tiny bit of extra virgin rapeseed oil, and then some butter. Generous with the butter. We're going to throw in some herbs. So we've got some lovely garden rosemary, some fresh thyme, and we've got a couple of cloves of garlic. Now what we're trying to do is infuse the fats or the butter with a bit of flavour before we put our steaks in. So we'll let that go for about a minute or so. Okay, I can really smell the herbs, especially the thyme, shooting up, beautiful smell. So I've seasoned the steak nicely, lots of pepper, a nice bit of salt, and we'll pop one in at a time. In it goes, and then we'll just let that seal for a couple of seconds or so. And we'll start the basting process. We're just going to keep basting the meat with the butter because don't forget you've got like a nice herby flavour in that butter. So we'll just, while it's cooking, just keep basting it over. Well, that's been about 2 minutes now. I can see it needing turning. Just while we're talking about the steaks, these are aged for 35 to 36 days. You can see it in the grain when you're seasoning it up, or I can anyway. So we just flip that over and we'll keep basting it, get that lovely butter going into it. Okay, we've had a couple of minutes this side now. We're just going to flip it over again. When you're cooking a steak, you need to bear in mind that the heat is pushing the juices away from where the heat is. The juices don't want any part of that, so they're running away. So by flipping it, you're encouraging the juices to go into the steak rather than out. Remember years ago when people used to just put a steak under a grill, leave it for half an hour and say that's yummy. Well, all the flavour and the juice came out the bottom because it wasn't being flipped enough. But this way, we're going to keep all the juices, and also, because it's nicely aged steak, if we let it rest, that juice will set into it and stay there while we're eating it, making it really special. Okay, that bad boy's done. So I'm going to take it off and then cook the other one. Okay, that one's cooked as well now, so I'm just going to take it out. I'm going to dribble the juices, because as you let that sit, you will get a bit of juice comes out. We're just going to take out these herbs and garlic, and that's leaving us with the meat juices and a bit of butter. Now into that we're just going to drop our asparagus. Now it's not going to be pretty like it's been boiled, but it's going to be so packed with flavour. Okay, so we're just going to gently cook those a bit. We're not after them being all soft and gooey and horrible. We're after them just taking up a bit of beef flavour and a bit of warmth. Pour that juice on. And then we can start to think about plating up. The mushrooms are cooked. I'll turn them off. I'm just leaving them to sort of steam in the pot before lifting it. But I know all the liquid's gone because there's no steam coming out of the hole. So we'll just let all this go for a minute or two. If you noticed, I've not seasoned the asparagus with salt and pepper because there's enough in the pan from the steaks. So Okay, I'm going to turn everything off now and we'll move to the chopping board and start to plate up. Okay, to plate up, got a lovely mushroom rice. Can you see how fluffy and light that is? That's full of flavour. So just put a bit of the mushroom rice on the plate. The steak really likes the mushrooms as well. And the rice likes to absorb flavour. So, there we go. There. Push that in. Okay, now we get the steak. Beautiful, beautiful steak. Just going to cut it up a little bit. Beautiful. Can you see how that's nice? But you cook it how well done you like it. This is sort of medium. Can you see it's got a nice bit of colour still to it? So we take that. We're just going to spread it a little bit like that on the rice. Get in now. Same with that one. Just over your rice. Spread. Nick that bit for myself. Right. Asparagus. Just over the top there. Mind your fingers because it's hot. But no sense, no feeling. What is hot and all. There we go. Bit of yum there. Okay, next the tomato mixture you make. Give it a little stir up. And we just put that in there like so. Now it's the balance of flavour and texture between the raw, the cooked, the half cooked, the meat juices, just everything together really just brings it all up together. Okay, now just going to tip a tiny bit of the meat juice that's come out over the rice. Waste not, want not. It's all flavour. Then, last things last, just a good wallop of that horseradish cream. And there you have it, a beautiful balanced rump steak lunch. Absolutely stunning. Give it a go.